Your self-worth has nothing to do with your craft or your calling. Your value is inherent and not determined by productivity, career, or external validation. You are valuable simply because you exist, not because of what you do. And that is a quote by Chris Carr. And today's topic is a soliloquy, in other words, a solo episode about the topic of the importance of separating your work from your worth. The topic is so huge, self-esteem, all of those things, but I'm going to keep it to the notion of that what we are creating and how people react to it, whether they buy it, whether they book us, if they don't, if they think we're too expensive, if they give us $30,000, none of that has anything to do with our worth. So before I get started, of course, Luci Dumas Coaching is where you could send me a note that you'd like to be on my show, or you know someone you'd love for me to have a little chat with. And feel free to book a 20-minute chat, especially if this topic brings up some things for you. I'd love to chat about that. No like pressure to book me for coaching or anything, just to support you. All right. So, as photographers, it is so easy to confuse our work and our worth. It can also be paralyzing if we don't deal with this issue. Think about all of the creative people who built magnificent sculptures, paintings, things that move us, things that have changed humanity, books that have been written, all of those things that if those creative people had not tackled it in spite of fears about if they were good enough to do it, what the loss would be, and how much loss is there in the life of you or people that you know that hold themselves back because of fear of criticism, which is to me really the fear of self-criticism. So let's see. One thing that I want you to remember if you are a photographer, especially if you're selling people photographs, we are selling people back to themselves that they love. So if we're photographing a family or a child or even a branding image of a person, we have an unfair advantage because no matter how great or average our work might be at any given time, if someone loves the subject, they're going to love those images. There's images that I think about that I did, 25, 30 years ago that I've seen on people's walls that I think, whoa, how did they love that so much? How did I love that so much? But it was uh, because of the subjects. And sure, I did a sellable job or they wouldn't have purchased it. Um, the other thing I want you to know before I really dig into this topic is that there are four basic kinds of people. One, people that love what we do, they know the value, and they can afford it. Number two, they know the value, they love it, but they simply cannot find the money. Number three is people who have the money, but they're not interested. Like I could go buy a Harley Davidson if I wanted. I don't want it, even though I have the money. And four is people who don't want it and they can't afford it. So I don't want a private jet and I can't afford it. All right. So can you relate to this? You start believing that your images are amazing and that you are amazing if the client loves them. And you think that means you're lovable. Or if the sale is big, that means you're a success. But if they don't book you or they don't order well or give you lots of positive feedback, then you start to question everything, especially that all encompassing worry. Am I good enough? Um, if you listen regularly, you know that I'm big on in-person sales. And a big reason is I need that feedback. Even though I've done the work to separate myself from my work, having them hug me, cry, and give me their reactions, or even if the reaction is kind of flat, that helps me be better. And sure, yeah, I feel good at the end of a session um, that they have loved or they've ordered really well. Um, so if they question your pricing, do you sometimes wonder if your photography is worth it? Or are you even pricing yourself so low that everyone books you and you don't have to be faced with that dark place where you can doubt yourself if someone says no? One of the huge gifts in my career has been to learn to not only accept but celebrate no's, because it means we're not a match. And then I don't have to waste my time with people that aren't a great match. So that fear of rejection, especially for creatives, is so common. And that includes me. Um, One of my fears, as I maybe already mentioned, is I'm pretty hard on myself. So if I make a mistake or what I think is a mistake, or I don't do as great of a job as I wish I had, my self-criticism can get pretty gnarly. Sometimes I call it the self-esteem flu, and I know it's something I just have to ride out sometimes. Um, I'm really hard on myself if someone else criticizes me. That's pretty rough. Probably we all are. Um, so the core of that, when we like get down on ourselves, is because again, we are not separating our product from ourselves. And just a quick little story, and if you've listened often, you might have heard this before from me. One of the first things I ever did where I created something and sold it is I was probably 7. I could walk around the block, but I was not allowed to cross the street. So I walked around the block. I picked neighbors' flowers. And then I went home and I made little bouquets and I walked back around the block, knocked on doors, and sold them these bouquets. I thought just God made flowers. I didn't realize these were people's personal flower beds. um, and I think the last door I knocked on, somehow the light went on and I realized it, but she still gave me a dime or a quarter or something. I'm not sure I even told my parents about that. I just picture me and the flowers and the ribbons and the neighbors. But at that young age, I managed to separate my product, which was to creatively make little bundles and to have a sales method, which is to be cute and 7 years old and knock on doors, from that I'm not a worthy person. So that's just a little fun story. Okay. So it is a good feeling when they love what we do and they buy it. And it's not a good feeling if they don't. Of course, this is real. But what I want you to do is find a way to enjoy positive reactions and not be devastated with a negative one, and not to make it mean anything about you. Now, the beauty in this, and something I've talked about a lot, is being self-employed gives us the opportunity to heal things from our childhood, things from relationships, because things will come up that challenge us, like, this fear of rejection. And so that gives us a chance to do some work to heal that, to go back to where we got those messages. Sometimes it's childhood, sometimes it's a teacher that just said, you're not creative, or a relationship where someone, said really negative things. Um, and that's the beauty is as an entrepreneur, I can separate. It's easier to see and heal something that's going to impact my business for me. And then, of course, I become the better version of myself with more to give and more joy in life as these things heal. Um, so we need to excavate those negative messages and experiences of our childhood and challenge them. My mother, um, usually when I was about to make a good point, she called me stupid. I loved my mother. She was wonderful, but she was, you know, not always perfect. And I would spend so much effort arguing against that and like not being stupid was like a high value for me. And, you know, I've healed a lot of that. Um, so here's some true confessions for you. I am a recovering perfectionist. Grades were important to me. My parents praised me when I did something good, and they said they were disappointed in me if there was something they didn't like. Now, I am grateful that the many things that they could have done, that like I never got grounded. Um, I did get a spanking or two, but my mom later confessed she felt bad about that. I can hear my dad's voice saying he's proud of me, even though he's been gone for decades. Um, at 7, we all took IQ tests, and the school told my parents mine was high. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying how it actually messed me up to hear that, because then I thought I had to get A's in everything. And I'm not great at the way math used to be taught. Um, my brain is more, what is it, right brain. And I'm good at math in general now, but school math and handwriting, I got C's in handwriting. Um, and so it might have well have been an F in my mind. I was highly critical of myself, and I carry that. Um, so part of my work and a lot of journaling, a lot of classes, books, therapy, was to discover that I wanted to go on a journey to excellence instead of perfection. Perfection is not achievable. There's no such thing. Um, and I read this little article that said if you're a type A and you want to ease up on yourself, a B is a passing grade. It's a good grade. So allowing myself a 20% mistake ratio would still be a B if we were graded. And I began to extend that to other people in my life, photo labs. If they made more than 20% mistakes, maybe I had to move on, people that worked for me. Um, but allowing those mistakes and also realizing that people may never appreciate what I make or understand me, but that when I separate my product from my value, my business is actually going to be better. Now, one of the reasons that is true is because if I could separate, like, okay, that didn't work, why, and not have an emotional reaction or that lasts very long, then I can think about was it the right client? Uh, did I do a good job in sales? Is there a way I can improve my sales ability? Did I market in the right place? Is there a way to make that better? Just questioning, analyzing, talking to other people, letting the business get better because of that. Okay. So think about this. I have a couple stories. Um, let's say you have a lemonade stand. Now, selling lemonade is not going to mean anything about your worth, right? Or if you don't sell lemonade, do you deserve to feel bad about yourself? So if you put it out there and nobody buys or not as much as you think, what could be the reasons? Maybe it's not hot enough outside. Maybe it's the wrong time of day and there weren't enough neighbors walking around. Maybe the lemonade could have been a little bit better. Maybe you're priced wrong. That's a big factor to think about in our business too, not just lemonade. You can be priced too high or you can be priced too low. Like if someone's selling lemonade for 10 cents, I might suspect that it's not from lemons, but it's just a powdered mix, and I'm not down for that. Or if it's too much, I may not really want lemonade enough to like spend $10 or something. And did you do everything you could to market well? Did you walk around the neighborhood and say, "Hey, tomorrow I'm having a lemonade stand. How's your signage? Is your stand in a place where a lot of people walk by?" So that's just that's just a thought. Let's see what else. Um, so I was thinking about anything that we might do, or any store that we might go to, or restaurant. What if the Target cashier was devastated because we didn't buy something that she thought we should? That would be kind of not good. Or if we tried a new restaurant and we didn't like food that we ordered, and the waitress and quits her job and goes home and cries. No, they have a product they're selling. They're not attached to it. Let's see. So the better marketing, I'm just jumping back a little bit. Um, an example of some of the things we would need to challenge are, let's say we do a charity event and it is a bust. We're selling gift certificates or we have an auction prize, and either nobody buys it or the person that buys it just takes their gift and doesn't order anymore. Then we want to question, was it the right event? If the ticket price is low, if it's in a low income neighborhood, and if we're significantly high priced for an investment, then maybe people would be in that category where they might love what we do, but they are not able to invest. So, like, I did a children's expo, and it was downtown San Diego near a lot of military families and near the lower income part of the San Diego area. And I had zero success because it was the wrong community. And doesn't mean those people are not great people, people I love, people I'd want to spend time with. I had fun, I had good conversations. They loved my work. That was fun. But my time for dollars would have been better spent if I found a children's event that was a high ticket price in the neighborhoods in San Diego where people have lots of families and big houses and the money to spend on some luxuries. So, or if I was trying to uh, market senior photography, high school senior, and I went to the children's expo, the baby expo, that's not quite the right environment. So when we can be like, this didn't go the way I wanted, it's the opportunity to look at our own emotional base and see how we need to heal some of that. And then the opportunity to look at things we could do to improve. Let's see. So, am I saying not to work hard to be really great at your photography, not to work hard to try to please your clients, or feel totally zen neutral when someone loves our work or doesn't love our work? Of course not. Of course not. But I want you to have the emotional freedom from those reactions about what other people think and feel about our product. It opens up our creativity when we're not chained to approval and, buried by disapproval. When we have the space to learn and grow. Yes, I've made mistakes. The other day, I didn't have my focus exactly right for a session that I did. And there were some really nice images that were plainly out of focus. So what am I doing? There's plenty that the client's going to be happy with. Um, but instead of like, oh, you know, I'm stupid, um, I'm like, how do I improve that? Was it the right lens? Was it the kind of focusing I find with the new mirrorless cameras? It there's a lot of choices, whereas my old workhorses, my 5D Mark IIIs, I was very clear when I focused. Um, so I have more to learn, and I don't photograph 2, 3 times a week anymore. So I'm not getting those habits. Anyway, so there's a true confession. Yes, I made a little bit of a um, needs to improve. Oh, I used to hate that on what are those called? Report cards. Anywho, that is what I have to share today. And if some of this triggers you, I highly recommend you do some work on it. And because you have endless amounts of good to offer the world. And it is like people hire us because they love us, not simply because they like our work. And when you're worried, they feel that. When you have that inner freedom to do the work, listen to clients, create what you think they'll love. Um, if they have feedback, which people rarely will actually tell you what they don't like, specifically, other than their own self-criticism, like, oh, I don't like my hair like that. But yeah, your work is a separate endeavor. If you're building houses, if you're, uh, I don't know, making what is it, a boxcar for a race, whatever it is, you are lovable, you're loved, you're worthy, you're special, you're one of a kind, and the world needs you to be able to express that. And that's it for now. Bye.